In this class, let's start animating the transition of this animation. If you remember what I showed you before, we opened the scene with a very bright yellow color, and then we transition from the yellow color to this blue. So the blue color is actually our end state of the animation, the latter part of the animation. To get it started with the bright yellow color, what we need to do is we need to change this background color to a yellow. In order to change it to a bright yellow, we can hit on this background layer, go to our effects and presets panel. If you don't have the effects and presets panel open on the right hand side, you can go to Windows and then click on this effects and presets. We need to bring up a hue and saturation effects. With the layer selected, I can double click on this hue and saturation. Now it's going to add a hue and saturation effect to my layer. What I can do is I can adjust this value master hue here to get a different color. If you don't like the bright yellow that we used at the beginning, you can choose different one, maybe a purple one that looks good, or even a pink one that looks good. So for me, I'm just trying to get that yellow color that we like. This is a yellow that I want, but the saturation is not there. So I need to dial up the saturation to make it more saturated. And even change the lightness down a little bit. Yeah, that's bright enough for me. So this is the yellow color that I like for the beginning part of the animation. However, as you can see, our portfolio text line doesn't work anymore because the color is blue and then it's generating this weird effect. It's hurting our eyes. So I need to change the color of these three layers as well. In order to change the color of these three texts, let's go to the Effects and Presets panel again. Let's find a fill. Let me try this. Select one of them and then double click on the fill. Now it's changed to red color, which is not what I want. I want to change it to a pure white. And then click on this fill, Command C to copy, and then click on these two layers, Command V, paste. Now we got a bright white color on top of those three layers. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that looks good because remember we had opacity change on these three layers. So it's just gonna keep it very subtle in the background when it's animating the opacity, which makes it very subtle and nice. I guess, yeah, that works for me. Just change these three layers to a white color. The next thing I want to do, I want to draw a circle, a dot in the layer to animate the circle coming from the left hand side to the right hand side, and as if the circle is dragging something to pull everything to the right and then reveal the blue color background at the end, just like the previous example I showed you. Let's go to this top toolbar here. Right now we have a rectangle tool. Hold down this rectangle tool and then click on this ellipse tool. We can draw an ellipse with nothing selected in the layers panel. I can draw a ellipse, hold down Command and Shift to constrain the property so that it's a perfect circle. I'm thinking maybe this big. And then now you can see the anchor point is not at the center of the circle. Remember I told you how to move the center point to the circle? All you can do is go back to the selection tool and then right click, go to transform, and then center anchor point in layer content. Now we have the anchor point in the center of the circle. All I need to do is to animate this circle. Let's name this dot. Main dots maybe. I want to have this dot goes from outside. Let's pull up the position property. Hit P on the keyboard, right click, separate dimensions. I just want to animate the X position. When the text comes in, maybe hit a stopwatch at a keyframe and then go forward 10 frames, 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 frames, go over here, let the circle come in, and then stay there for maybe 1 second. While it's staying there, I don't want to stay there still. I want it to travel very short distance. And then go forward another 15 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 frames. Let it shoot out of the frame. Well, this is the animation I want. However, we haven't added any easing yet. So what we need to do is click all of them, hit function key and then F9. Or you can go right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. This is what we were doing all along. We need to first easy ease those keyframes. Right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. Let's see what it looks like. Now it's got some easing to it. Not bad, but still we need more energy. What I want to do is select all 4, go to this graph editor, fit the graph to view, give it more of a more exaggerated curve so that it's traveling a bit faster with more energy. This is a curve we have currently. Let's see what it looks like. I'm thinking more of a easing curve here. Let's see what it looks like. Maybe not so much in the middle. Yep, I think that looks good. Another way to adjust this one, it might be easier. I want to show you the, click on this button here and then show the speed graph. I think what I want to do is, that's one option. You can choose that option, and I'm going to give you another option that you can use. This might work better. So I want to go to the speed graph instead of the value graph, which is where we were before. And I want to give it more of an exaggerated curve. Pull this handle all the way in, and then pull this one all the way out. Give it more speed, and then even this one here. Pull this one in, and then pull this one all the way. And I'm trying to make the 2 graph the same height to give the same speed. Something like this. And let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that's more exaggerated. You see that? That's I think that looks better than before, but I want to give it more speed. Like I want to drag this curve even more. Maybe I can't. It's already, so this one I can still drag it even more. So this one is much faster than this one. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that looks better. I like what it looks like right now. So the first part, when it comes in, it's easing straight. And then when it comes out, it goes really fast. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Just make sure you go to the speed graph and then adjust to the speed graph like this. If you want to know more about speed graph, I have another course that's dedicated to teaching you exactly what you need to do with the graph editor and all the animation principles to have full control, total control of your animation. You can do whatever you like. You can check out my other course in the profile. But for now, this is a beginner class, so I don't want to go too deep into the graph editor. Let's move on. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I got this circle here. The next thing I want to do is I want to add a kind of another circle that goes around it, so that gives like a glow effect. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change the circle color to a blue color. To change it to blue color, it's very easy. We can use the fill effect, but I want to get the blue color from the background. So I go to the background and then we can turn the effects on and off. We can turn off the effects so that we can see the original blue color that we have in the background. Now I just need to add a fill effect in the effects and presets panel, put in fill, and then drag this fill effect to my main dots. I can use this color picker to pick the blue color. Now we have the dot in blue color. Go to the background and turn it back on. So we have this bright yellow at the background. Next, what I need to do is I want to have another dot underneath this main dot. Command D for duplicate, and then change the size of this dot. Hit S on the keyboard, bring up the scale, change it to 120%. And then hit Shift T for opacity, change it to 40%. And change the original main dot to 80%. Now I have two dots at the same time. They're traveling together. However, what I want to do is, right now, if I hit U on the keyboard, it's got some keyframes on the second dot as well. I don't want these keyframes. I just want them to travel together. If I delete all the keyframes, this main dot 2 is going to stay on the screen. But over here, what I want to do is I want to use another option, which is called parent layers. I want to parent this second layer. I want to parent the second dot to the first dot. So the second dot is traveling with the first dot. Let's use this pick whip and then parent the first layer to the second layer. Now we have the two layers traveling at the same time. If I go back to the none option, it's very important when you parent things together. Let's say if I have the second layer and the first layer position like this, almost like an I position. If I parent it at this timestamp, these two layers are going to travel together like an I shape all the time. And this is not what we want. So what we need to make sure is we need to make sure when they are aligned perfectly in the center, that's when we need to parent them, like this. Choose this pick whip and then parent to the main dot. Now we have the two dots traveling at the same time. That's good. The next thing I need to do is to draw a transition mask. Let's go to the top layer over here, toolbar. Let's select the pen tool. With nothing selected, I can draw a shape from the center of this dot. Let's draw a shape like this. Something like this. It's got a sharp point at the right-hand side. And then I want to move this shape underneath the dot, rename it to transition mask. And make sure I parent the transition mask to the dot as well, so they're traveling at the same time. Let's see the animation here. Yep, that's good. However, I need the mask to cover the whole thing, the whole screen at the end of the animation. So I need to move this position property of this main dot even further at the end so that it's covering the whole thing. Yep, that's exactly what I need. I feel like the latter part, the speed, is gone. So I need to maybe drag this closer to give it more speed. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I need. Okay, that's good. We have the transition over here. Remember, we need to bring back the blue color at the background. And in order to do that, we need to add a adjustment layer. Go to layers on top and then new adjustment layer. Let's choose a hue saturation effects on the adjustment layer. So the way adjustment layer works is that whenever the adjustment layer changes, it's going to affect everything underneath it. You can see if I change the hue and saturation, it's changing all the color underneath the adjustment layer. And in this way, we can bring back our blue color from the background. Remember, something like this. This is our original blue color. We can use the adjustment layer to bring back the blue color in the background. And the logic is like this. Right now, we have this transition mask going on. If we have the adjustment layer in the same position and the same size as the transition mask, it's going to affect everything underneath it to bring back our blue color in the background. In order to do that, we need to move this adjustment layer to the left, to the position where the transition mask is, and then change it, make it bigger than the transition mask. And the next thing, we need to make the adjustment layer travel with the transition mask, make it travel with it. And the last thing we need to do is move this underneath the transition mask and add a alpha matte. You see over here, there's this track matte option. If you don't have it, you can click on the second button on the left corner here to bring up this track matte option. Make sure the adjustment layer is underneath the transition mask. Go to this option here, hit on alpha matte. And this is what we get. You see that? So the way alpha matte works is that we're using the visibility of the first layer to control the visibility of the second layer. Meaning, remember, we have this red color transition mask. Wherever this red color is visible, we're using that red color to control the visibility of the second layer, the layer underneath it. Meaning, you see the shape of this adjustment layer becomes the shape of this transition mask. And the adjustment layer is still keeping the same function as an adjustment layer, controlling the color of everything underneath it, which makes the background become blue again. Let's save the project. In order to demonstrate more on the track mattes, let me do a track matte demo here really quick. Let's put in a solid color, and then let's add in a demo text. Let's draw a rectangle. Whoops. Let's draw a rectangle shape over here, and then we can set the demo layer to alpha matte. Now we have this rectangle on top that's controlling the visibility of this layer underneath it, meaning wherever this rectangle is visible, it's going to make the text underneath it visible. If I move this rectangle down, you can see wherever this rectangle is visible, it's going to make that layer underneath it visible. This way, I can control the visibility of one layer with the layer above it. And another thing you can do is you can change the alpha matte to the alpha inverted, meaning wherever this rectangle is visible, now you can see the demo is not showing inside the rectangle. It's showing actually outside because it's inverted. And that's how track matte works. It's using one layer to control the visibility of the second layer. This is a very unique concept to After Effects. And if you don't understand it, you can go back and watch it again. But once you get it, it's actually pretty easy. Now, this is our animation here. That's it on how to do the transition. In the next class, we're going to talk about how to add effects on the transition.